Welcome back to another episode of Canada Unpacked. I'm your host, Barbara. I have my co host, Diandra, here. How are you, Diandra?
I'm great. It's Saturday. The sun's finally out, and I am cool as a cucumber. It's amazing. I'm just happy for the nice weather to be back.
Yeah, that vitamin D really hits hard.
It does. It does.
I'm so excited for today's episode. My good friend Zuzka is joining us. Zuzka, we connected super randomly, but I'm so happy it happened. I don't know, we just hit it off. It was like a random LinkedIn DM that started this friendship. And yeah, I'm just so grateful. And so Zuzka is from the same country I'm from. So I'm so excited to hear her immigration story. Zuzka, please start off with what motivated you to first come to Canada? What was that like initial pull? Like why Canada?
Well, thank you, both of you, for having me. It's honor to be a guest in your podcast, honestly. I feel like I've never done this before, so I'm like, I don't know what to expect, but I'm very excited, especially when I'm sharing my immigration story. And yes, me and Barbara, the way we met, it's like online dating with like in
Super
friendships,
friend.
basically, which is very strange, but I'm very, very happy for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so just a little bit of background. I'm from Slovakia. I was born there. I was living there until I was 25, and then I started to travel the world. And first, I actually went to Australia. I was living there for 3 years. Then I come back to Slovakia, and I started helping international students to come to both Australia and Canada. So that was my first time that I actually experienced Canada in a way I never been before. I was just sending students and helping them to get their enrollments and get them ready for living abroad because I already had experience from different country. And to be very honest, Canada just happened to me. I would say that way because during this time I got offered scholarship for the private language school, and they were opening a new program, not for language but for a business program, and they were giving scholarships out for 15 students, I believe, and I was lucky one, and I got offered scholarship, and
Wow.
I thought, why not? Let's just give it a try. So that's basically how my journey started here.
Amazing.
I know. I would never expect that, to be honest, because Canada was never on my list. Let's just say it that way. But then when this opportunity came, I always like to travel, so I wanted
Yeah.
to try it out. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go there. It's for 1 year. I'm gonna apply for my visa. I'm gonna just see how the country is, and everything just went too easy, I would say, that time. So I know it's like I don't even know if I should say that, but I just did.
That might be a relief to some of our listeners who are maybe having a hard time with the Canadian immigration system now, with all the newer complexities that are coming up.
Yeah.
Well, it might be a relief to hear, like, okay, it wasn't always this crazy.
I know. Well, this was back in 2015. So 10 years ago exactly, I came to Canada
Yeah.
first time. So that's how my journey started. And as I was here as a student, I started liking it. Obviously, why you cannot? You're in Vancouver. You just look outside and it's beautiful, right? You have ocean, you have mountains, you have good people around. So I was like, okay, I think I'm going to stay a little bit longer then. So my next step in my immigration journey was a young professional. So I went through that. So I got, because I started working for this language school as well as part-time while I was a student, and then they helped me with young professional job offer. So I was lucky that time again, I'd say. But that was like young professional for us is just for 1 year. Then I had the opportunity to get working holiday, but back then it was very hard for Slovak people to get working holiday because too many people were in the pool,
Yeah.
and it was just hard. I feel like nowadays this part is actually easier. It's not. I don't know if not many people are interested or not many young people are interested. I'm not actually sure what's going on, but I see that it's easier now than it was done. So my young professional was about to end. I'm like, okay, what's next? What I'm gonna do, right? And at that time, I didn't know anything about immigration other than students. That was the only thing I was doing before. So I went to see a lawyer just to have a consultation with a lawyer. And he was like, well, it's not as easy as you think, because I thought I'm just okay, I have some experience, I speak the language, I actually bring some skills to this position. I think they need me because I also speak other language, which this is language school, so students need language school. But he's like, no,
Mhm.
Zuzka, that doesn't work that way. I didn't have enough points that time, and I don't even know if I have enough points now, to be honest. I never checked after that.
Well, I
So
think that's so common. We get people because you're now also an immigration consultant, and we get people being like, "Oh, I have XYZ. I think I'm a good fit." But they have actually no idea how it all works. They just are like, "Yeah,
yeah,
I think Canada wants me."
yeah, and I can see that now because before I was the same. Like I have no idea how the system works, and I thought, okay, I'm great fit for this position, so
Yeah.
why can I not stay? They want me to stay here, the employer. But yeah, then I was like, okay, so I guess I'm just gonna go home. So, and then I'm just gonna go a little bit forward with my story because this was during this time, that was 2017, I believe. I met my current husband, but I didn't know he's gonna be my husband at the time. We just met randomly at the bar. Well, not that randomly. Okay, let's not say it randomly. It wasn't that random. I was introduced to him by a friend of us, and he was working at the bar. I was just visiting the bar, and he was from the same country, so it was just easy for us to talk. But he was in a relationship at the time. My interests were elsewhere too, so we never really thought about this going to be a romantic relationship. Really, we were
Yeah.
really just becoming very, very good friends, and that was it. And then I left. 2017, I left with my current partner being my good friend. And this could be the end of the story. But it wasn't. Do you want
Oh
me
my
to
gosh.
just keep going? Because I feel like I'm talking too much now. Is it
No, oh
okay?
my gosh, so you fully like did you go back home or were you like more travels? Because you had already traveled before to other countries. So did you or were you like, all right, go back home and like regroup and see what's next for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question because I didn't want to go back home for like
Mhm.
stay there. So I went back to Australia
Oh.
for for some times, hoping that something's I don't know magical is gonna happen because Australian immigration system at the time was much harder than it was here. I think it's
Yeah.
still the case, but I don't see that anymore. I mean, I don't see it to it that much. But at the
Yeah.
time, it was very hard to get different visa other than student visa over
Hmm.
there. So I was just hoping for something really magical gonna happen. I'm gonna stay there, and that's gonna be end of story. Obviously, didn't happen. So I
Yeah.
went back home after that. But I was traveling, and then 2018, I came back to Vancouver just for a visit because I had a lot of friends here. So I'm like, okay, I can just
Hmm.
go there for a week. I'm just gonna see my friends. And then my current partner, we were still in touch because we were really good friends at the time. And he was like, well, I broke up with my girlfriend, so you can actually stay with me now because it would be weird if he had a girlfriend, right? And I stay in his apartment. So I was like, oh, perfect. So I was there only for a week. And I think that's when it hit us. The sparkle started during that
Hmm.
1 week in Vancouver, which is like, when I think
Good
about it now, I
timing.
was like, it's crazy. Like we were friends for a year and something, and then nothing, and then out of the blue, like, hey, maybe we can be more than friends.
Yeah. Like
I
it was
love
the right
that.
time. Yeah, the timing just lined up.
Yes.
Yeah, you
I
know how
love
they say, right time, right place. I think
yeah.
this was exactly it. We
And
both were
don't
at the
forget
right
right
time, right,
person.
and the right person. Yes,
Right.
of
Right
course.
time, right place, right person. Like I love that. I love that like you guys have been friends for all that time and kind of lost touch and then he was just like, well, my girlfriend isn't a factor anymore. So
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
and
and yeah. So that's when the love began.
so
But
did
then
you
I left.
guys Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go on.
I was gonna ask a question. So did you guys like after that week that you stayed and everything, was it just like you guys kept in touch more than you used to and like the phone calls and the messages and everything started? Like tell us a bit more about your love story.
Okay.
because we love love.
Sorry, guys. No, that's exactly what happened, Diandra. That's exactly what it was. As soon as I left Vancouver, I swear I never had this before. Every
Yeah.
morning, every night, we FaceTime.
Oh.
It never happened to me before. So, and it was
Yeah.
so natural. Like, it wasn't forced to any of us. Like, it was just like, okay, I wake up when he wakes up. So it was like, before he went to sleep, he called me. Then when I wake up, I would call him. So yeah, it was every day until I came back to Vancouver eventually.
So how long did it take for you guys to reunite again?
So this was September when I was here, and
Yeah.
then so in the meantime, I went back to Australia, and I told him like maybe you can come in here and visit me. So he came there, January 2008,
Yeah.
19 it was already, yeah, 2019 January. He came to visit me this time, so we kind of reconnected in a love, not like in a friendship anymore. So it was more romantic there. And then he left, and yeah, it was that time. It was very hard to
Yeah.
actually not be together, like being in
Yeah.
long distance. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if we want to be together, he didn't really want to leave Vancouver because he already had like his career was like established and he was like growing here. I
Yeah.
didn't really have any career like going on, like the serious one that I couldn't leave. So I was like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna go back. So he left, and then 2 weeks or 3 weeks after, I was like, okay, bye, Australia. I'm going to Vancouver. And that was 2019. And yeah, since then, I stayed, and I'm here
Okay.
now.
Oh
Oh,
my
I have
gosh.
so many questions. I have so many questions.
Yeah, go
So
on.
when I'm bursting with questions. So when you left Australia, you kind of knew I'm leaving Australia for good. Like I'm going
Yeah.
back because we want to be together.
Well,
So how did
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. Well, I never. Well, now I stay for good, but before I would never stay for good. I would always be like, okay, I'm gonna see if this is gonna work out because like we
Mhm.
were never like really living together, right? So at the time I wouldn't stay for good, but I would like take all my bag luggages and everything like it is for good.
And the relationship was growing at that time. So how long did you ever go back at all, or did you come back with the intention that I'm gonna find a way to stay in Canada?
No, I came back with intention. Okay, if we want to be together, I want to stay because I came back as a visitor first, right?
Yeah.
Because so I really went through all the statuses during my time in Canada. I was a visitor, I was a student, I was a worker, I was PR, I'm a citizen now, so I got them all. And so that time I was visitor, and we started living together right away because, of course, I came here for him. So like, well, I'm not gonna find an apartment for myself. So we started living together, and I think because we were friends before, it was easier because
Mm.
we knew each other. I don't want to say better than like newly dating couples, but in a way, yes, because we were always like ourselves in front of each other. We never hidden anything, so
Mhm.
it was just easier to live together. And you know, the beginning of a relationship is also easier because like he was taking care of me, he would cook for
Yeah.
me, he would like
Yeah.
everything, so I stayed basically. So it was nice.
I love that. I love that.
I love that. It's like a Canadian caretaker.
I know. He was PR at the time also. He wasn't a like Canadian citizen, so he was a
Okay.
PR at the time. And yeah,
And
because yeah, at the time we were like, okay, so we're living together, and I started to log into spousal sponsorship. That was already that time. I was like, okay, if you want to do this, let's do it properly.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
like we need a bank account. So like we went to the bank. I think like second month I was here and set up the bank account together. Like
Yeah.
okay, so let's just do this, and then if that's not gonna work out, that's fine. We're just gonna like cancel this bank account. Like it's not a big deal,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And I'm glad we did that. That was very smart move.
Yeah, it is. It's a smart move. And what stands out to me is that you guys, I don't know, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't seem like you guys had talked marriage or anything yet. You just
No,
knew you wanted to be together. You came to Canada as a visitor, you started living together, and you were like, well, we should look into this avenue. If we want to stay together and have me remain, then we need these certain things to be done, like living together, like having proof of like intertwined finances and everything. I think that's a really key point, right? That
yeah,
that preparation, like that thought process, even if you haven't done like had the big talks yet, that thought process is helpful.
Yeah, exactly. I was smarter at the time than before because I went through all this traveling then and all this journey. I was like, okay, we need to look at it now before it's too late. Because before
Yeah.
I would just always look at at like the strategy when I need a strategy, right? And it's
Right.
already a little too late. You have to look at the strategy before you actually need the next step.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So you took a proactive approach instead of being reactive, which
Yes.
is a lot of, I think a lot of people's issues right now are coming up because there's a reactive approach. And that's partially because of all the changes that are coming out from IRCC, but um, being proactive is one of the bigger things. And I know Barbara and I always say it like all the time. Preparation is key, right? Like it's such a big step that people sort of miss because they're just trying to like get the process done or like get to Canada, and
Yeah.
it can't be overstated, right? Like that you need to take some time and think and prepare for the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like people want everything to happen right away,
Yeah,
and I don't blame them. I'm the same. I like, okay, let's make this happen now. Like, why do I have to wait?
yeah,
But yeah, especially in immigration, it's very
yeah,
important to think ahead, basically.
yeah.
And
And
if you,
especially when you're in a situation like that, right? Like where, like you said, you guys had that trip when your now husband came to Australia, and at that time when he left, it was harder, and that's what really made the decision for you guys, right? So I think people, especially in spousal sponsorship cases, have that like immediate need of like, I just want to be with my person,
yeah,
and why can't they just hurry up so I can be with my person?
yeah.
But
No, it's
immigration
true.
takes longer.
I mean, we were also lucky that I could stay here because I'm from the country that doesn't really need visa. So I was on ETA, so I could stay for 6 months. I didn't have to worry about that part. So, yeah, I consider myself lucky in situations,
Mm-hmm.
but you're totally right. I 100% agree with you that no, people who have need to think about the strategy.
Yeah, especially when the relationship is getting deeper, you got to kind of put it in the back of your mind. And another key thing that you said was that your husband was a PR at the time. And again, people forget that too, right? Like it does not have to be a Canadian citizen. A
Yeah.
permanent resident can also sponsor a spouse.
Yeah, exactly. So we were not married. We were not thinking about the marriage at the time, and he wasn't Canadian. So uh, it's a good example, I think, for people who don't think about this. They're like, "Oh, I'm not married to Canadian." Well, you don't have to. You can be common law with PR.
That's right. Yeah. There's a bunch of different avenues. So
Yeah,
it just takes a little bit of like you said, strategy. It takes a little bit of thought process and strategy, and you can achieve the the loftiest of immigration goals, right?
yeah. You
Yes.
need some patience, which I don't consider myself to be patient very much, but at the time I was like, yeah, you need to be patient because this is not gonna happen overnight.
Yeah.
It takes time to stay in here, and I became citizen when next last year actually, 2024 only. I became
Amazing.
Canadian citizen. So
Congratulations.
it is a journey to to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your ultimate goal. It's definitely it's a journey for sure. And yeah, I love that. You weren't common law yet, you weren't married yet, but you're already thinking. Whereas some people are like, well, let's try the relationship out, and then once they hit their 1 year, they reach out to
Yeah.
someone like us, and they go, now what? But if if you had proactively started collecting documents throughout that year, once
Yeah.
you get your milestone, you're like, "Ooh, I got all these documents that we've been collecting for the past 12 months," and it just makes it so much smoother. It's possible either way, but why not? Why not prepare ahead of time?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you, Zuzka, yeah, right away got the bank account, joined, set up, and you kind of knew. But you mentioned so you came in on the ETA visitor 6 months. So how did you reach that 1 year of common law? What was your game plan?
Okay, so I didn't have the strategy for that part at the beginning, to be fair. So I was like, okay, I'm a visitor. We're gonna start this process, but I knew that I'm gonna have to have at least 1 year together. So then I was looking for different avenues, like what I'm gonna do, and that was the time when I realized when I found about this immigration consultant program. I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I was already helping international students before. This was, I had a business helping international students myself, so I already knew a bit about that, but I was never licensed. And I was like, okay, so how about this would actually work perfectly if I'm gonna go on a study permit, stay here, study this program, because you could study even though you're not PR. So that
Yeah.
was that worked for me. So that's what I did. We went home for a vacation, visit our families, and then I applied for my study permit, and we came back, and I started my school for becoming immigration consultant. And
Very cool.
yeah, that was, you know what, that was perfect, because at the time I was about to apply for my spousal, I was still at the school. So my spousal sponsorship, I had so many consultants there, my instructors. So every time I had a
That's
question,
amazing.
I
I
would bring
love
it
it.
all in my classroom. It
I
was,
love it. You literally could put the application together just from the advice from your
yeah.
instructors.
They were like, they didn't really like it, like to go through like your cases, because some of my classmates there had like they were already like working as an assistant in a firm, so they would bring up like their cases. But I
Yeah.
was smart. I would always bring it up as like scenario to like the
Yeah,
topic
like a
we
hypothetical.
were talking about.
I love that. Very honestly, I think what's standing out for me with your particular case is how much, like how strategic your thinking was throughout the whole process, right? Like this is amazing. This is
Mhm.
like your ideal case from start to finish. Even though we
And
haven't gotten to the finish yet. But I'm so impressed with how ahead of the game you were at every step. It's amazing.
it's funny when you say, I never realized honestly, but now when you said it, I was like, yeah, I was really strategic.
So clever.
It's, yeah, sometimes when you just say it loud, it hits, right? So,
Yeah.
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 God, I'm glad. I'm glad I did it this way.
That's amazing. Now, for anybody out there that's listening to this, like really be like Zuzka, okay?
Just be Zuzka.
Honestly, just soak this all in and just go from there because this is like I'm so impressed by how and it you like you said it's the fact that you kind of don't think about it in the moment that you're being strategic, but you were thinking ahead of the game, like you were like 10 steps ahead of everything. And I love
Mhm.
that. I think that's such a great proactive approach, and it translates so much to what we're experiencing now, right? With all
Yeah.
the complexities that IRCC has thrown in the way, like you really do have to be 10 steps ahead of them, right? Like you've got to have that plan A, B, C, D to make sure that no matter what, you have a way to reach that goal.
Yeah. No, that's right. But like, to be honest, I also like hit some obstacles in a way. So when I finally like apply for my spousal, I
Hmm.
wouldn't say obstacle, but I would say I applied by myself, right? I have all these instructors there to help me with questions, but I was still like doing my application myself, and I was like reading all these guides. I was like, okay, I can do this. Uh, it's fine. I'm like, I can fill out this form. But when you read the guides, they, yes, they tell you everything. Okay, they tell you like submit these documents, fill out these forms, but they don't tell you the details really. So when I was filling out the forms, and then I was like, oh, wait, I was working for the government, but what does it mean? Like, I'm gonna put I work for government for 4 months. Like, is it gonna be like bad for me? Is it gonna be good for me? Like, what it means? And then the pictures, you're gonna submit like pictures of you and your partner with the application. How many pictures I need to submit? Like, who's supposed to be in this picture? Like, do I have to say something in the picture? Can it be like from one weekend of vacation, or does it have to be from like different time of our life? So all these questions, yeah, I didn't know answers to at the time.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I I think that one of the things that, like you pointed out, a really important thing that people get trapped on with spousal sponsorships, like how much information do I give?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, like little things that you don't realize when you read about it, when you just see the big picture, when you're filling out the forms. It's just as soon as you're supposed to like submit this document, then you're like, wait a minute, am I doing this right? Is this enough? Should I put this there? Or is this too much sharing? Like, I, for example, did a screenshot of our Facebook relationship. I told my partner, I was like, we have to be girlfriend, boyfriend on Facebook now. Because this is what they're gonna see. So there was
So
also like
smart.
there was also weird though because we were not like that like public like social media public
Hmm.
relationship.
Hmm.
We both found it weird, but I'm like, well, it's gonna have to happen. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so smart and it's so timely because nowadays we know the officers are Googling people. Like they
Yeah,
are looking at people's
Exactly.
social media. And
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
again, you're just 10 steps ahead, Zuzka, every time.
10 steps ahead.
yeah,
And
yeah. Thanks.
Barbara pointed out on one of our previous episodes, we were talking about spousal sponsorship and everything. And one of the things that Barbara pinpointed was like when you're thinking about how much evidence to provide, she was talking about establishing a timeline. So, like, use that as your guideline, right? Like, can you give pictures and evidence that shows the start of your relationship going forward to present day? And that's kind of how you figure out, like, what's the documentation I give. And I thought that was really, really interesting, as well as, like, a good tip, right? Like, go based on timeline, right? Like,
Yeah,
make sure the officer can see the progression of your relationship. So, pro
exactly.
tip from Barbara.
Yeah, no, that's a very good tip because I also had some clients before that with the spousal, and they would just send me the pictures of like selfies of themselves
Yeah.
with like no surroundings really. So you don't know like when this is, where this is, like is there someone else around? So like yeah, that's very smart that you also want to show that family recognize you, right? As a couple. Your friends recognize you as a couple. You go somewhere and they see you as a couple. So that was also one thing I did. Like everywhere we went, I was like, we need to take pictures with people. Like we're here. We went to visit our families. I was like, let's take a picture. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's something again. You have to think ahead because if you don't have any pictures, like after 1 year of living together, how you cannot just do all these pictures in 1 week. Like
Yeah,
it's not going to
Yeah.
prove anything.
yeah,
Yeah. You can't just like hire a photographer and get some, like showy stuff happening and be
Yeah,
like, this is it. It's like, that's not a real relationship. People don't hire photographers for just a whatever occasion. It's like the
yeah,
raw photos that, aren't the highest quality, but they're real. They're real and they show real moments in your life. That's such a good tip.
exactly.
I love that. And so, Zuzka, I'm so curious. While, first of all, I do want to point out being a student with the like immigration law program, it kind of covered so many bases because it covered your status issue, right? It gave you status in Canada. It covered, having enough time to become common law to qualify for the spousal. And then it also covered like your career path, like that you to this day work in that industry. And you mentioned before, you were like, I didn't really have a super serious career. I wasn't too sure what to do. It was like three stones, or three birds, one stone, whatever the term is. It was just like this fixed so many things. It shifted
That's
so
very
many
true.
things. And so while you were doing that program, did you become permanent resident? Did you switch from student to PR, or was it after you graduated? What was the timeline like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So while I was doing the program, COVID happened. So
oh
that was
my gosh,
another thing. And when I was ready to submit my application, it was exactly when COVID started happening. So it was this, I think it was March. Then not everything was closed yet, but it was about to close. So I was like,
yeah,
okay, I have to submit this application before everything is closed. So yeah, it was a bit stressful at the time. But yeah, I did that, I think 2 days after everything closed. So I'm like, okay, it's in, but also I don't know what's going to happen next because with COVID, we didn't know when everything's going to open, when officers going to come back to the office, are they going to get your application? So I think that was the most stressful of this application process, that I didn't know if my application was received, because I
Yeah.
only received the receipt after a few months, I think, when they actually start working. And it was a mail application, and I was
Yeah.
like always, every night I was imagining my application sitting there in this like a room of all the applications. I was like, oh my God, when
Sitting
they
there.
gonna get to my application now? So it was stressful. It was stressful. But then, so I applied 2020 and I got my PR. At the end, it wasn't too bad. I got my PR February 2021.
Okay.
Wow.
It's not
Yeah.
bad.
So
Not bad
I
for
was like,
COVID.
yeah, not bad. I was waiting a long time for the acknowledgement of receipt, but
Mhm.
after that, it went fast. So I think that part took like 7 months, and after that, it was, yeah, it was pretty fast. So I became PR 2021, and I wasn't an immigration consultant yet because I couldn't take my exam without being a PR.
Without
So
being a PR.
I had to wait for the PR status, and then I could take the exam. So after that, I only became the immigration consultant, which I am today, which I
Amazing.
love.
So, question for you,
Yeah,
because that timeline brought up this question for me. Did you do an inland spousal application or an outside Canada one?
yeah, good
Like,
question. I did inland because I wanted work permit. So
ah, that's what I
yeah,
was
that
thinking.
was also because that would kind of like also come to my strategy that I was a student and my study student status would expire. Then in
Yeah,
the meantime, I actually applied for visitor record because nothing was happening. I didn't
right.
know if my application was received, but I also applied for open work permit with my inland spousal.
Amazing. See, you are. It's honestly like 10 to 20 steps ahead of everything. You took care of all of the major points, maintaining status. And that's what a lot of people forget, right? Like that nothing goes forward unless you maintain status or else you have to leave. And obviously COVID would have probably prevented that because we couldn't really move around like we needed to, especially in that early stage.
Yeah.
But I just find it surprising that an inland application took such a short time because as we know now, the inland spousal sponsorship applications are much longer
I know.
than applying from abroad, right? So I
It's
think
funny,
that's
yeah. It's funny when you
amazing.
say that because it's like when you think of it, it was COVID time and it only took 12 months. Now there's no
Yeah,
COVID and it takes like
Yeah.
24 months.
taking 24 months right now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
24 months plus right now,
Like,
and
what's
there's
your
no COVID
excuse?
or anything. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
don't
wonder
forget
what.
you had a paper application as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
So even that, it's just like, wow, how come things were so much less stressful then than now?
yeah.
But that's a
Does not make
conversation
sense.
for another day.
I know, and maybe with someone else as well.
That's awesome. I love that. If we go from the beginning to the PR, just the PR even, because that's, citizenship is a whole other thing. You
Yeah.
were like visitor, student, visitor, visitor, student, like what, like tracking all the different, and then from student, visitor, worker,
Worker.
PR.
Yeah, exactly. I think I was student worker, visitor, student, maintain status, worker, PR. Yeah,
That's
that's my journey.
so important for people to know that it's not just, oh, I'm going to come here, work for a year, bing, bang, boom, got PR. Like,
Yeah.
no one has that story. No
Yeah.
one has that story.
Yeah, people, yeah, as I said before, people think that you can have it right away and
Mhm.
they want it now because why not? But it's
Yeah.
not that easy. Even like, you know what, now, honestly, when I say it loud, it sounds different than when I actually did it. So now when I say it loud, I'm like, wow, I really went through all these statuses, through all this journey to be here today and to become citizen of Canada.
Mhm.
So yeah, now I'm amazed with my story too.
Yeah, I'm amazed. Thank you so much for sharing,
Well,
Zuzka.
thank you.
Is there anything, any last like little thing that you want to share with the listeners, like anything that you wish you knew at the very beginning? I feel like your lens and point of view shifted so many times because your motivations shifted. But is there anything you're like, oh, this would have helped me at the beginning?
At the beginning, when I didn't know anything about immigration, it would help me to actually talk to someone, to look at my case specifically and tell me, okay, you can do this, you can go through this pathway, just make sure that you keep this job. Or if you have a partner, make sure that you keep all these documents together. So if someone would tell me this directly, like even like 2 years before I can apply for PR, that I think it's very helpful for everyone. And then one thing that I think not a surprise to me, but what I didn't think about, it was very time consuming to apply for spouse myself because I have to do all this research. And then, as I said, I have to go back and forth with all the documents. I was doubting myself. I was like, okay, should I do this? Should I do that? So if I have, like, I had these instructors obviously, but like if I didn't, it would be very helpful to have someone to at least review my application, to tell me, okay, this is good, and then recommend me something. So, yeah, if someone out there is looking for, is like trying to apply for spousal, I definitely recommend to either talk to consultant just to have a consultation or to have a review. If they, I understand that some people are like, have financial troubles, they don't really want to pay for consultants, but the review is very, very helpful. And I know you guys are both doing the reviews as well, right? So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Spending that little bit of investment up front actually saves you time and money and stress down the road. Like
Yes.
spending money saves you money essentially in
Yes.
the immigration space for sure. And you've got your awesome immigration firm, Upwind Immigration, which we'll link for everyone to explore if you want to chat with Zuzka again. But this was amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so grateful. And thank you for everyone for listening. Diandra, any last thoughts? I know like we say, we love love. I know you love a spousal.
Love, love. I had to really resist putting on my red lipstick today because I knew we were talking about spousal, and you know how I am. But just final thoughts, just like Zuzka said, like having a bit of knowledge beforehand goes such a long way. I'm so impressed with how you handle such like a document heavy kind of application on your own. And the IRCC always says you do not have to have a consultant or anything, but it is helpful. It really is helpful. Even if you need to tackle stuff on your own because of financial constraints or whatever, it is helpful to at least have a licensed professional look at things for you, do a quick sanity check, like let you know if there's anything missing, anything that you should add. Because especially in spousal sponsorship, I think people downplay the importance of how much evidence you need to provide, how much documentation you need to provide. So I think your story is a really great tale of like, this is what you need to do. These are the steps you need to take, and that you need to be strategic, right? Like, yes, you don't want to be strategic in your love, but you definitely want to be strategic in your immigration journey, because the strategy is what helped you, right? Like, you were able to stay and be with your partner even while you were going through the application process. So
Yes, 100%. Thank you guys for having me. It's been an honor to
yeah.
be here, and all the best to both of you.
Thank
Yeah.
you so
Thanks,
much.
everyone. See you next episode. Take care.